So Thingiverse, so what I was looking for was when Dawson was looking for a mask, I looked for skull mask, and it came up with this skull, dragon skull, but it found this hairpin. And so I looked at it. It's for free. I'm signed in, maybe. So on Thingiverse, all you have to do is click on download all files. It's paid for by advertising, so you do have to wait for the advertising, and then it downloads in a zip file, and you can close that. When it downloads the zip file, I brought it in here to my folder, and then I unzipped it, and it created this dragon skull hairpin, and it uses the same number 502.49.25 as 502.49.25. So Thingiverse, you can tell that it's a Thingiverse file. In this file, or in this unzipped, it has two folders, one for images, and I've taken them out and I put it just right here so I can see them easily. And then the other one is files. It comes with, I think all it came with was these two. Is one file, and they're in, even though it says 3D object, they're STL file, stereotypical lithograph or something shortened to STL. But the two files that are in there, if I just double click them, it opens up in 3D Viewer, Microsoft 3D Viewer, and it shows one is the skull head, and the other one is the sword. So you can view them to see if what you got was what you expected. However, you see that they don't have any supports on them at all. And so Thingiverse, sometimes they'll do the supported, but you can't count on that. So now we have to take it from the STL file into something where it has supports, and then we can print it. And so I've done that. Our resin printer uses a type of file called a .ctb because the software that creates it is called Cheetahbox. So I'll just open that just so you can see what. So Cheetahbox is this, and so if you opened it, it just allows you to see what it looks like here. And so I went through
that. Would you just go into up there? I saw you said there's open.
Yeah, you'd just go to open, and then you would choose one of the two STL files, either the dragon head or the sword. And you'd open up in here, and it would, let's see, is it trying to, if I can cancel that. Yeah, so it would just.
Text down there, you can cancel.
Oh yeah, let's do that. So I would go to open, and I would take like the dragon hair one, and it would open it as just the raw STL file. And as you can see, it's huge.
That's a lot more detail than we got.
All the red shows, oh it is, look at that. So all the red shows what's hanging over, and so all of this would be cut off if we tried to print it on the resin printer.
Okay. So can you change like what your plate size is?
You can, yeah, because this is set up right now for
the printer.
Yeah, when I did the first original setup, I chose it for the E-Packs. I don't recall where it says it, but the E-Packs 3D resin printer. So what I ended up doing is I went to scale, and I added dragon scales. No, I scaled it down to 60%, and then you can rotate because it still hangs off a little bit. So I went into rotate, and you can either do it by numbers here, or you can just drag these. And so I rotated it a little bit to make it easier, and then I you can move it, and so I ended up scooting it over. I was like, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be that high. And then I used this rotate, and I had it kind of sit a little bit lower, like that. So now you have it so it's closer to the plate, it's completely on the plate, and now you just have to add supports. And so what I did is I would go over here to this where it says supports, and I chose, you can do light supports, medium supports, or heavy here, and I just chose medium, medium thickness of supports, and then I did all. And what that does is it adds all of everything that needs to be supported. Because in the resin printer, really what you're looking at is upside down, right? Because this is how it's actually going to print, is upside down. And what happens is if you don't put a support, then this piece is just hanging off, and so there's nothing to attach to. So as it tries to print there, it's going to just drop into the puddle of resin, and it won't actually stay on it. So you do all the supports, and so that everything has a hang point. Everything's attached. Your left mouse button moves it, and your right mouse button rotates it. So once you have it there, and then you go back to here, and then you hit slice, and this is where, it's saying that it's hanging over a little bit, like a little bit of red. That's not going to affect it, so I'll just say yes. So now it's going through, and it's creating the file that the printer can actually read, because what the printer does is it prints one layer at a time. And so after it's all sliced, it means that hundreds and hundreds of slices, horizontal slices. And you actually can go through and see all of those slices. And you can see every time it prints, like one time it's printing all those little dots, and the next time it prints the next. And so it just piles all those little layers on. Every time it lights up, it kind of cooks the resin in that, just in that area, and that's what makes the layer of resin. And so it goes all the way, it keeps on printing all the way to the top, to the tips. And then you hit save, and then that's when you save the CTB file for the resin printer. Do you want to pause it there and start?